Today's gospel lesson is from the book of Mark, and this tells us about the transfiguration of Jesus. Now, transfiguration is a huge word. What does it mean? It means to change your form. Jesus is going to change. So let me tell you the story, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Jesus had been teaching and healing up to this point. One day, he's talking to some of his disciples, and he tells John and James and Peter, he said, "Come with me. We are going to climb up this mountain. I need to talk to you about something." Now, they were pretty excited because they knew when Jesus pulled them aside that something special was going to happen. So they went up the mountain. They didn't really understand what it meant that he was God's son. And that's what he's going to try to show them. So they went up the mountain, and Jesus was transfigured. Suddenly, Jesus' clothes turned pure white, dazzling bright light, so bright that they could hardly even look at him. There's no bleach that would ever make him look that good. And then, before they knew what was going on, Elijah and Moses were standing there on either side of Jesus. Look at that! They're so surprised. They said, "What is happening here?" Elijah and Moses, those are two of the most famous and most important people. Peter and James and John had learned about Elijah and Moses a long time ago, and they knew that they were important. Peter, once he felt a little better, he stood up and he said, "Gosh, it's really nice that we're here. It's good to be here, isn't it, guys?" And they're like, "Oh, yes, it is. Maybe we should build each one of you a little hut. One for Elijah, one for Moses, and one for Jesus." He didn't know what else to say. They were so scared. They didn't think of anything that sounded even important. That would be like saying, "Hey, can I make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?" They didn't know what to do. A big cloud came and left a shadow over the whole top of the mountain. And a voice came, and the voice was from God. And God said, "This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him." And then you know what happened? Poof. Everything was back to normal again. Jesus said, "All right, you ready to go?" Oh my gosh. Peter and John and James were like, whoa. He was so excited he fell right off the mountain. What just happened here? And Jesus didn't say anything about it. He just started to go down the mountain. And you know what he told them? He said, "Don't tell anybody about what you've seen. Don't tell them." And as they're going down, can you imagine seeing this amazing thing and not telling anybody? He said, "Don't tell anybody what you've seen until after the Son of Man has risen from the dead." Jesus was really just starting on his trip to his death in Jerusalem. He was just beginning. He'd been healing, he'd been teaching. People are like, "Oh, this guy's great, he's so nice." But he had to show people that he was God's son. And so he took some of his most trusted disciples and showed them. And there he was with Elijah and Moses. But you know what? Elijah and Moses disappeared. The only one left was Jesus, and Jesus is the most important one for us to focus our sights on. Today's lesson is from the book of Mark, chapter 9, verses 2 through 9. Look it up in your Bibles, and you can read it too.